Hi guys, Luca here from Sabre Airsoft, back again with another new announcement, a new product for the VMP2. This is something that Alice and I have developed over on my Discord. You can find a link to that down in the description below. And it's the VMP2 hop-up tensioners, plural. And the reason that there's two is because Alice and I actually had a bit of a disagreement on what approach should be taken, whether or not we create a tensioner that has built-in contact with the patch, or if we make one that's designed for aftermarket ones, such as the Omega nub or the Quantum Industries Friction Pro nub. And then once we actually got something that was sort of working in both directions, we realized that for the time and effort it takes to package up separately, etc., why not just give you guys the choice? So when you do purchase this, you do get both in the packaging. This is exactly what you'll receive right here. As you can see, VMP2 hop-up tensioners designed by Alice and Sabre Airsoft. This is one that is a 50-50 split as far as profits go, though it only costs you £3.50 plus delivery. We have tried, as I say, we always try and keep costs as low as possible. Honestly, the packaging, it costs more than anything, as we've discovered. So, how do you install it? Very, very simple. First, you need to remove your handguard. If you've got the M or the MD, that's just going to be these two here. If you've got one of the newer variants, which should be releasing this month, I can't say for certain how you remove the handguards on those, but it should be fairly straightforward. And these tensioners should still work with the new ones as well. And in fact, if Force continue down the road that they appear to be going when it comes to their new M4 variant, that appears to use the same TDC screw, so I have a hunch that these may also work and be needed in that one. Remains to be seen, purely speculation. So, first off, let's get this handguard off, shall we? 4mm bit for these two screws. And then the back plate should drop off. Put that to one side, keep it safe. And then you are going to need to push the screws out, or at least this one at the rear. Yep, it's probably going to be both. And they do have two split rings, so don't lose those over. Once you've done that, there are two grub screws, one here and one here. Make sure those are off, because are backed out, because otherwise, as you pull this out, you are going to scratch up your barrel nut. Nobody wants that. You don't have to come out all the way, just most of the way. You see, that's what happens. Once you've got that off, you need to remove this barrel nut. Now, a lot of them you can do it by hand. Sometimes you can't. This time you can, because I've had this one off before. Once you remove the barrel nut, you can remove the outer barrel. You don't have to take this all the way off, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to for now. It's not much of a difference when it comes to putting it back on. From here, you want to then undo your hop-up TDC screw until the point you can remove the assembly. Once you've done that, in fact, you don't even have to remove it all the way. During testing, it was a bit of a pain to do that, so we just removed it a little bit each time. Grab your tensioners. This is as far as the disassembly goes. This is all you need to do. Grab your tensioners. This isn't mine, by the way. This is a customer's, who is kindly letting me just experiment with it. This time I think I'm going to opt for the one with the built-in tensioner. That has been matched to match the curve of the hop-up chamber. All we have to do is place it in that little circle there, and what this arm here does is it stops it twisting, so it keeps it nice and straight. Then, very carefully, I'd recommend keeping it vertical like this. You're just going to slide it back in. You may need to back the screw out completely in order to do this. You're just going to pop that in. Have a quick check down the hole, make sure that it's aligned. Just need a bit of better light here. Yeah, I can see that that is indeed aligned. and then pop your screw in and just do it up a little bit. There we go. I'm not going crazy, I'm not going ham, I'm just going to go until I feel the resistance. Once you feel that resistance, you don't actually need to go any further. And in fact, the slop is also taken up as a result. So once you've got it in there, you'll know when you're starting to engage the hop-up tensioner, as you'll start to feel a bit more tension, and most of the slop will seemingly disappear as well. Go until you get to about a couple of clicks, and then leave it there for now until you get some ammo in there and you can test how much tension you need. Slide your outer barrel back on. If you've got the M or the MD, you don't need to worry too much about how many rotations you do the outer barrel. You only need to make sure that it is tight. If, however, you have the D variant, you do need to make sure that you line up the holes. And that's where an armourer's wrench will come in handy in order to get the nut on just a little bit further. Handguard goes back on. Do up your 2 side grub screws. And then put your plate back on. And your 2 screws. And there we go. That's how easy it is, guys, to install these. Very, very quick and easy. And in fact, you can even swap them out at a site quite easily enough. I would say that this one has been designed around the idea of using the Quantum, though it should work with Omega and others. And as far as material goes, these are made using resin. So this is from a resin 3D printer that Alice recently got. And they are quite strong, but if you crank down on them, and I mean really crank down on them, they may break. If any of you guys have any trouble with these, just get in touch. You can either get in touch via Discord, my email, or my Facebook. Any of those options are perfectly valid. But so far, we've only heard of one failure out of, I think it's around 30 or so packets of these which have gone out since launch. So 60 tensioners. Thereabouts, which so far pretty good, and we're already talking with that customer and they're giving us really good information on what went wrong and helping us to make sure that anything going forward is correct.
Future Luca here, just to let you know that the customer who managed to break theirs has already had a free replacement sent out. If you want to know what generally people are thinking of these so far, here's a couple of reviews. They've given me permission to include them in this video, and also one of them insisted that I leave their name in there to make them famous. So, wish granted, mate.
Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. Catch you on the next one.